Although Vita Health Group provided this exercise class provisional with your health and safety in mind, each individual participant has their own limitations and should consult their general practitioner or an appropriate medical professional prior to undertaking the class. Should you be prone to injury, are currently pregnant, or be managing any functional limiting medical conditions, please seek medical confirmation prior to participating. At all times, ensure you follow all instructions provided by Vita Health Groups throughout the entirety of the recording. Should you experience any symptoms of dizziness, nausea, or increased pain at any point during your participation, please stop and seek the appropriate advice from your general practitioner or the 111 service.
Hi everyone, welcome to our beginners knee class. So this class is aimed for people who are particularly struggling with any symptoms in and around the knee, or for anybody who's new to the program. So the aims of the class today will be to strengthen up and provide stability in and around the knee joint and the surrounding structures. So I'll put in front of you now a list of the equipment that you will need for this class. Please have a quick read through this before you move on to a warm-up. Okay, so I'm going to start with a bit of a warm-up now, just get the body ready for the class. So I'm going to start out with a nice, gentle march, just very steady on the spot. So looking to drive them knees up, get them arms moving, make sure we're swinging the arms as well. Make sure we're taking nice deep breaths while we're working through the exercise. So the aim of the warm-up here is to raise the heart rate, activate the muscles that we're looking to work, mobilise the joints, and then potentiate, which to make the exercise we're doing a little bit more difficult and progress into the actual class itself. So keep yourself stood nice and upright, nice deep breaths. Keep driving them knees up, don't let them fall down. So as the heart rate begins to pick up, we'll actually increase muscle temperature as well, which improves muscular flexibility. All things that are good to help us perform and to prevent any kind of injury or anything like that. Okay, so we're going to progress this march into a nice steady jog, just keeping it on the spot. Again, don't forget about your breathing. Nice deep breath throughout, nice and light on the toes. If you want to swing the arms a little bit as well. That's it, a little bit longer. Again, just jogging at a comfortable pace, nothing too serious for you. Okay, I'm going to move on to a joint mobilisation for the hips, the lower back, and the pelvis. So we're just drawing these nice big circles as far as we can. Keep the hands on the hips to guide. And I'm going to change direction and the exact same thing going the opposite way. Again, nice deep breaths. Really feel that stretch through the muscles as you push in each different direction. Okay, and then just on one leg at a time, just as far as you're comfortable with, just swing that leg in forwards and in front behind you. Focus on one point in front of you, or pop your arms out just to help you balance a little bit. And again, you can progress it just by swinging a little bit further. So you're just looking to feel that stretch in that hip, and activate the glutes as well. Also activate through the leg where we just get a little bit of balance. Okay, and then the exact same thing on the other side. Again, pick one spot in front of you, get the arms out, and just swing that leg. If you do need to put your foot back down to gauge your balance, that's fine. Good stuff. Okay, and then we're just going to start to bring it up the body a little bit into the shoulders. And we're just going to draw these nice big circles with the hands. Again, progress it yourself, as far as you want to go, as far as feels comfortable for you. If that's just a small circle down here, that's fine. If we can we bring them up into a nice big circle, forwards and backwards, and just keep going. Helps to stretch out the chest, the upper back, Even working into the neck a little bit as well. Again, a good warm-up kind of focus targets the whole body rather than just certain structures. Good. Make sure we are changing directions. Good stuff. And then we're going to move on to mobilise the actual spine itself. So various different movements for the spine. So we're going to start with feet nice and close together. Again, nice deep breaths while we work through these. Popping our hands in the front of our thighs and just sliding down as far as we can. When you reach that point, very slowly return to your starting position and repeat. So 5 of these. Again, make sure we are just staying in a comfortable range. So if that's only to your knees and back up, that's perfectly fine. It's just as far as you can go. Okie doke. And once we've done 5, the exact same thing, hands round on the back, just below the glutes. And we're just going to slide down towards the back of the knees. Again, you won't get anywhere near as far as you will going forwards. And again, it's just as comfortable as you can, kind of in terms of distance. So 5. Once you've done your 5, hands round onto the sides, kind of where your pockets should be. Maybe open up your feet a little bit wider for this one. And stand up nice and straight, and you're just going to slide one hand at a time down towards the knee to side flex the spine. And the exact same thing going in the other direction. Good. Again, nice deep breathing as we work through. So to each side is 1 rep, so you do 10 in total. Good, last one. Then you're going to, again, feet still in a kind of position, arms out in front of you, and you're going to rotate to look over one shoulder, and then rotate the other way. Again, each side being 1 rep. 5 of these. So again, 10 in total. Keep counting in your head. Make sure you keep the hips facing forwards, so we're just rotating the lower trunk. Okay, then give everything a nice little shake off as we draw towards the end of our warm-up. So we'll move on to the actual class itself now. So here's just a quick reminder of the equipment we'll need for this class. Okay, so for our first exercise for this class will be a glute bridge with 3 sets of 10 repetitions. So the idea of this exercise is to build strength in the hamstrings, quads, and the glutes as well. So just for our starting position, we're going to bring ourselves down onto our back. Get yourself nice and comfortable. And then you're going to bring the feet into a comfortable position and just in front of you, and place the head and the shoulders down on the ground. So hands, palms face down, doesn't really matter kind of how far apart from body they are, as long as they're comfortable. Feet want to be nice and close together. Then we're going to engage the core and the trunk by squeezing the abs, squeeze the glutes, lift up to the top, squeeze the glutes at the top, and slowly lower back down. So we're not letting the hips touch the floor again once we're off the floor. And just keep repeating through. Counting up to 10 in your head. Make sure you're moving nice and slowly with deep breathing and really squeezing glutes as we get to the top. So looking to get to a point where the knee, the hip and the shoulder are almost in line. Keep the knees together. Really important we get that squeeze at the top. And after the 10th one, lower back down to the ground. Bring yourself back onto your feet. And again, we're going to give the legs a nice little shake We have a 20-second rest before we move on to the second set. So take 20 seconds, have a drink, get your breath back, and I'll move on to the next set. Okay, perfect. So we should have got our breath back by now and be ready to repeat for our second set. So again, you slow yourself down into that starting position, nice and slowly. Again, feet flat on the floor, shoulders on the ground, palms flat down. Bring the feet nice and close together, engage the core, the trunk, the glutes, give everything a nice squeeze as we push up, bringing the hips up towards the ceiling and back down. Remember, not letting them hips touch the ground again until we've completed our 10th repetition. Nice deep breathing as we're working through these. Hold that squeeze at the top for a second or two before slowly lowering back down. Make sure we really keep driving them hips up. And again, that 10th one, really squeeze and lower back down onto the ground. Again, bring yourself back up onto your feet for our rest break. Again, give the legs a nice little shake. Have 20 seconds, get a drink, get your breath back before we move on to our final set. Brilliant. Again, we should have got our breath back by now and be ready for our final set. So again, returning back into that start position, laying down flat on the back. Again, feet flat in front of us, palms face down. And all we're going to do is the exact same thing, maintaining that slow contraction on the way up, squeeze at the top, and then slow lowering back down. But remember, not touching the ground. Nice deep breathing, keeping the hips in line with the knees and the shoulder where possible. Again, you count yourself up to 10. So the slower the better with these. The slower they do them, the more time we spend under tension. And after the 10th one, again, slowly bring hips back down onto the floor and bring ourselves back onto our feet. Again, give your legs a nice little shake, take 20 seconds, get your breath back before we move on to the next exercise. Okay, so moving on to our next exercise, which will be sit to stand. So you can see I'm positioned in front of the chair behind me. So what we're looking to do here is work on core and trunk engagement as we're kind of going from a sitting position to a standing, and vice versa as we return back to that sitting position. So again, almost like a little bit of a squat, but a little bit differently because we're using that chair for a little bit of assistance. Okay, so just position yourself right in front of the chair, and then as slowly as you can, we're going to lower down onto the chair. So imagine the chair is not there until you find that point where the glutes touch it, and then you can drop into the chair. So we're not letting the weight drop back, we're slowly controlling down into that chair. And we're going to repeat this. So sitting to standing is 1 rep, so 10 of these. So keep working through. So really kind of make sure, see if we can squeeze the abs as we lower down. Really, really slowly. And 1 more to take us to our 10th rep. And back up. Brilliant. So that's our 10th rep. And the end of that set, we'll just take a bit of a rest break, take 20 seconds, have a drink before we move on to our second set. Okay, so that should be our rest break finish. So we'll move on to our second and final set. Again, we'll repeat the exact same process, making sure we're taking nice deep breaths as we slowly lower into that chair and bring ourselves back into that standing position. Okay, so make sure we're positioned just in front of the chair, so we don't want to miss it. So nice and slowly, bringing ourselves down. Try not to look at the chair. It helps if you're not looking at the chair, then obviously you don't know where it is, and it just helps you go a little bit slower. And just wait till you find that point where the glutes touch the chair. So once we're training good practice, we're getting up and out of the chair without using our arms to shift our weight. We're getting the lower limbs, the glutes and the trunk to help us out. So 2 more, take us to our 10th rep. And 1 more, nice and slowly, find that chair and back up nice and slow. Okay, so that brings us to the end of that set and the end of the exercise as well. Again, take 20 seconds, get a drink, have a breather before we move on to our next exercise. Okay, so moving on to our next exercise, which will be our seated cycling. So again, I'm positioned just in front of a chair, kind of to help support the hips while we work for this exercise. So what we're going to do is we're going to position ourselves sat at the edge of the chair. Again, put the hands on the chair if needs be. We just want to make sure the glutes are right at the edge of the chair so we can really work for that range of motion. So kind of the idea of the exercise is to really restore that range of motion for the knee joint. So you can either do 1 leg at a time, or if you can hold yourself, you're just going to hold this position for 1 minute. So bend and flex that knee, almost like you're pedaling a bike. Okay, so 1 minute, starting in 3, 2, 1. Good stuff. So you should feel it's working the quads, the hip flexors, and it's really good for working that knee joint through its range of motion. So if you need to sit back, that's fine. Just make sure we've got that clearance of the heel off of the floor. Almost drawing a circle going forward with that heel, like you're pedaling a bike. Good stuff. So work at your own pace, nice deep breathing. If you need to slow it down, that's fine. And just make sure we're holding it for a minute or as close to a minute as we can. Just a little bit longer, keep working. Okay, 10 seconds left, keep going. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And just place the feet back on the floor. Give yourself a second, bring yourself back up onto the feet. Again, give the legs a nice little shake. All we're going to do is we're going to take a nice 20-second little breather get yourself a drink before we move on to our second set. Okay, so that brings us to the end of our rest break. Again, moving on to our second set. So bring ourselves back into that seated position. Remember, we need to be sat at the edge of the chair. You can lean back a little bit if needed, put the hands on the chair if that helps. And we're just going to bring the heels up off the floor, and again, starting in 3, 2, 1, to keep that cycling motion going. Nice and slow, nice and steady. Keep flexing that knee, keep extending it. That's halfway there, keep going. Keep going as long as we can. 15 seconds left, keep pushing. 10. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Brilliant. Again, just place the feet nice and flat on the floor, give the hips a bit of a wiggle. Bring yourself back onto your feet again, give the legs a nice little shake off. And that'll bring us to the end of that exercise. Again, have a little bit of a drink, have a breather before we move on to our next exercise. Okay, so moving into a stretch now, stretching out the hamstrings. So we're going to start off with one heel out in front of the other one. Then we're going to place our hands on the opposing hip, just to push that hip back until we can feel a stretch in these hamstrings here, keeping that knee nice and straight. Keep the whole leg straight and just hold that position there. So we're going to hold this for 20 seconds, starting in 3, 2, 1, let's go. Nice deep breathing while we hold that stretch. And after 20, we're going to swap legs and repeat the exact same thing on the other leg. So this left leg is going to go out in front of us, or kind of the opposing legs, which one we've used before. Both feet facing forward, and again, just lean back onto that leg to stretch this hamstring. Again, holding this for 20 seconds. Kind of sink the glutes back. Go on, after 20 seconds, bring yourself upright. Give the legs a nice little shake. I'm going to repeat the exact same stretch, but dropping from 15 seconds down to 10 seconds, okay? So for the second set, again, switching sides, moving back to the one that we started with. So that right leg out in front, remember this time just 15 seconds, and lean back into that stretch. Should notice you can get a little bit further into stretch this time round, as we stretch the muscle fibers a little bit further. And after 15 seconds, we're going to swap over onto the other leg. Again, just keep sinking them glutes back, just to really push that stretch through the hamstring. Brill. Again, after 15 seconds, give them legs a nice little shake. And repeat once more for 10 seconds this time, and really push that stretch a little bit further. So again, get that heel out in front, sit back and hold that stretch. Using these hands to push back on that hip to really further that stretch. Perfect, and again, swap legs. Again, you should notice each time we get into that stretch, you can just get a little bit further back. You can feel the stretch a little bit more. Good stuff. And again, after 10 seconds, give them legs a nice little shake. Again, take a nice little breather, give them legs a bit of a rest before we move on to our next exercise. Okay, so moving on to our next exercise, which is an isometric quad activation, which is just a contraction without any movement. So looking to build strength in the quads, a really big muscle involved with the knee. So the more load that the muscles can take around the joint, the less it has to do itself. So we're going to start off in a seated position with one foot flat on the floor, which is a leg that won't be working, and we're just going to work one leg at a time. Again, bring ourselves right up to the edge of the chair with that foot nice and flat. So just lean back slightly so we can get a bit of a grip on the chair, and we're just going to extend that knee and we're going to squeeze this quad for 3 seconds before lowering back down. So count in your head, 1, 2, 3, and slowly return to that start position. Okay, and again, 1, 2, 3. So we do 7 of these on each leg. So we're really doing one leg at a time to really fatigue and tire that quad. So really squeeze. Almost like you're trying to get your foot up towards your head. Extend that knee. Good stuff. And after 7, we're just going to repeat the exact same thing on the other side. So again, extend that knee and squeeze that quad. Lower back down nice and slowly. Again, 1, 2, 3, and back down. Really squeeze that quad. Nice deep breathing while we're doing this. Again, counting up to 7. 2 more. Good stuff. And then bring your feet back onto that flat position, and then bring yourself up onto the feet. Again, giving the legs a nice little shake. And before we go into a bit of a breather, give you a chance to get a drink, get your breath back before we repeat for our second set. Okay, perfect. So we should have enough time to give the legs a little bit of a rest for us to get our breath back and to have a drink if needed. So again, we're going to slowly return back into that starting position. That seated position with the glutes at the edge of the chair, and whichever leg isn't working should have the foot flat on the floor. So again, pick whichever leg you originally started with, and we're going to start on that leg. Okay, so the exact same principle. Bringing that knee up into a nice straightened position, and really tense that quad, give it a nice squeeze for 3 seconds and lower back down to the ground. Again, just keep repeating for 7 reps and swap sides. Good, if you really squeeze, you might feel a little bit of a shakiness in the quad or the leg where we're really pushing ourselves. Brilliant. And after 7, again, swap sides. Get this foot now nice and comfortable. Again, nice big squeeze and back down. Very simple exercise, really good for building strength in the quad without having to put any kind of load through the knee. Good, and one more. Really straighten that knee out, really squeeze that core. 1, 2, 3, and back down. And again, bring yourself back into a starting position and give that legs a final shake. And go and take 20 seconds again, have a drink, have a breather, and that brings us to the end of our exercise. Get a quick drink before we move on to our next one. Okay, for our next exercise, we've got our standing knee and hip flexion. So I'm going to start off facing towards the back of a chair. So we're keeping your posture nice and upright and just walk back ever so slightly. I'm just going to taking turns, alternating legs, driving that knee up towards the back of the chair. So just like so, just knee up and slowly back down. And the same on the other side. I'm going to do 8 on each side before we move on to the next set. Nice deep breathing, really drive that knee up and slowly roll back down. Roll, and after 8 on each side, bring it back into your starting position, give your legs a nice little shake. Have 20 seconds for a breather, for a little bit of a drink before we go into our next set. Okay, so moving on to our second set now. So again, repeating that start position of hands on the back of the chair and just walking the feet back ever so slightly. And again, drive that knee up towards the back of the chair and slowly back down. Nice deep breaths. Good, and after 8 again, bring yourself back into that starting position. Nice deep breaths, get a bit of a breather before we move on to our next exercise. Okay, so for our final exercise of this class, it's a little bit of a stretch, looking to work the inside of the groin, the adductors. So we're just going to open our feet out a little bit, just walk them away from each other until we feel like we're in a comfortable position. And then we're going to shift our weight over onto one side. So bending the knee. So let's start off on the left side and lean over, pulling this knee down in towards the ground until you can feel that stretch in that adductor there. Again, holding this for 20 seconds and repeating on the other side. Good, and after 20 seconds, swap over to the other side and repeat. Again, bend that knee on this side, let this leg fall in and hold that position there. Nice deep breaths. Good stuff. After 20 seconds, bring yourself back into that nice starting position. Move the hips just a little bit. And we're going to move over back onto the side that we started with. This time just dropping down, just doing 15 seconds, but looking to stretch a little bit further, push ourselves as far as we can. So really shift that knee over that toe. That's it, keep holding that there. After 15 seconds, we're going to swap over and the exact same thing on the other side. Make sure we keep pulling this knee in towards the other heel. Really can stretch that groin out. Good, and after 15 seconds again, return to that start position. Shake the legs out. I should do one more for 10 seconds on each side. Again, pushing a little bit further than we did the previous time. Okay, so over we go. Try and spread them legs a bit further if we can. Can we inch that foot away just to progress it? Good stuff. And after 10 seconds, we're going to swap over and repeat on the other side. Again, can we walk this foot away a little bit just to progress? And really lean over that side. Good stuff. And again, bring you back to your starting position. Give your legs a nice little shake, and that'll bring us towards the end of the exercise, but also towards the end of the class. Thank you very much for completing it. Hope you enjoyed. We'll now take you into a bit of a cool down. Thank you. Okay, so the same way we prepare the body to warm up for exercise, we have to prepare the body to cool down in the same way. So we just to start off with that, we'll pop our hands on our hips, nice big circles, working around as far as we can. So looking to lower that heart rate back down to a resting level and keep the fluids transporting around the body to the tissues that we've worked. Nice deep breathing throughout. Nice deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Good, and then change direction, the exact same thing. Try and use your hands just to guide your hips a little bit further. Really progress that stretch if you want to. Good stuff. Keep working. Twice more round, and I'll move on to our next stretch. Okay, so starting off, hands on front of the legs. I'm just going to reach down to touch our toes, nice and slowly, and coming back up. Ensure we're going down as slowly as we're coming back up. Again, maintain deep breathing as we're working down to the toes and back up to our start position. Keep the knees nice and straight, don't let the knees bend as we work down. Okay, and then bring the hands up and behind the head. Again, nice deep breathing while working through all of these movements. So really open that chest up, nice deep breaths, and we're just going to work. Bring the hips out and the shoulders over to the other side. And the other way. And rotate to look each way. Again, just hold at the end of the stretch and work around the opposite side. And forwards. Again, keeping them knees nice and straight. Keep the back in line. And back up. Nice deep breaths as we're working down. Nice deep breaths in as we come back up. And the same thing, leaning backwards. Okay, then just moving on to a very steady, just walking on the spot. Again, looking to keep them structures working. Looking to engage that skeletal muscle pump. So every time your muscle contracts, it pumps that blood flow back around the body. similar to where the heart does, but you know, rather up near the heart, right down near the structures that we've worked. So again, just nice and slow, keep your breathing nice and deep. Very gentle. I'm just going to move it around the mat, just side to side. Again, just engages different muscle groups ever so slightly. Okay, then just to finish off our cool down, some really nice deep breathing. Again, the nice deep breath really helps to lower that heart rate back to its resting level. So hands on hips or behind your back, wherever feels comfortable. Really get that chest out. Nice deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. And just keep repeating that. And that'll bring us to the end of our cool down. Thank you very much.